Have you ever had an unexplained feeling or an aching feeling that something's off and you can't quite put your finger on it? Have you ever dreaded getting out of bed and just not wanting to face the day? Believe it or not, that's actually you. And that's you telling you that that endless loop of dissatisfaction doesn't have to keep going on and that you don't have to feel stuck anymore. In this video, I'm going to share with you how to recognize you telling you that change is needed. I'm going to show you 5 signs that it's time for change and how certain behaviors are being triggered and how certain actions that you're taking are hinting majorly that this is happening. Are you ready? You're not alone. Life has a way of nudging us forward. We get a feeling inside that doesn't seem to go away. And that's you, your subconscious, telling you that it's time for a change, or even maybe time for some changes. Life comes in seasons. Everyone goes through transitions in their life, like becoming an adult at 18, turning 30, turning 40, even turning 50. There are also life milestones that can trigger change, like marriage or divorce, moving to a new city or a new state or a new country, purchasing a home, starting a family, changing jobs, or even career paths. There are even events or instances that can be traumatic that can trigger change, like the loss of a loved one or friend, aging, retirement, being fired from a job, physical and mental concerns. Even something like the pandemic in 2020, when we all saw massive change going on all around us. This created lots of questions and probably had you thinking that maybe you needed to make some kind of change so that you can keep up. The first sign is energy shifts. Your body is telling you physically that something's off. Your body knows what's going on before you even recognize it. Some of the signals your body may be sending you are mood changes, sleep disturbances, and even headaches and muscle tension. You may also feel like you're falling out of step with things around you. We tend to develop patterns, become creatures of habit, and that isn't always a bad thing. But now, those things that once seemed normal are out of whack. They aren't making sense anymore. You can start to feel like you're not living your life anymore, or maybe even for the first time. One day, while driving, walking the dog, sitting in your favorite chair drinking coffee, you start to question what you're doing. How did you get here? And where do you go from here now? The second sign is restless reflection. And the definition is the inability to rest or relax as a result of anxiety or boredom involving constant activity or motion while in serious thought or consideration. That was a mouthful, right? So basically, your mind keeps going and it's like you can't get out of a rut. You could be feeling stuck or stagnant. You lack motivation. That motivation that you once had isn't there anymore. You feel like you're just going through the motions. You might also be feeling anxious most of the time. You can start to feel trapped or powerless. No one expects you to bounce out of bed every single morning with the motivation and spring of Tigger, right? But it's also not good when you wake up and dread the day ahead of you, especially when it's more than once in a while that you're feeling that way. Have you ever heard of learned helplessness? That's your brain telling you that there's no solution. Like the working elephants in India. After some time of being chained up, they won't walk away even when they're tied up loosely with rope. Their early experience was that they couldn't move or escape or walk away. So they just keep believing that they can't. The third sign, questioning values and beliefs. You start to ask yourself why you're doing what you're doing. Are you doing too much of what you don't want? When was the last time you felt truly happy with what you're doing? And hopefully you can answer that question somewhat quickly. If you can't, That's definitely a reason that something needs to change. You start to feel like your life has become a chore. You wake up, you go to work or school, you buy groceries, you pick up the kids, you come home, you cook dinner, you clean the house, you pay the bills, you wash the clothes. You tell yourself, but this is what adulting is, right? Well, if it feels like one giant chore and you're not having time or even making time to do the things that you want to do, thrown in there somewhere, then it's definitely time to reevaluate some things. The fourth sign is skewed coping mechanisms. You're starting to feel too comfortable. You're staying where you are and doing what you know feels safe. And that's not a bad thing. But if you do that for too long, then it can make it too hard to do something different or to do something new. It can even make it hard to do things differently from how you've been doing it all this time. You might be feeling low energy. You feel like life is draining you. You're no doubt doing lots of things, but if you're not doing the right things, then you're going to have a hard time finding the energy to push through. You might even begin to start telling yourself, well, this is just how it is, and begin to believe that there's no changing this feeling no matter what you do. And let's remember, there's nothing wrong with a glass of wine or a beer or some chocolate or even some ice cream, all with moderation. But if you're doing these things on a regular basis and in excess, just to forget about some things or to comfort yourself or to get through the day, then something else is going on. The fifth sign is avoidance mindset. You're making excuses. You're finding one reason after another to either not do something or to do something other than what you know you should be doing. Maybe you're becoming cynical. You've been bitterly disappointed in the past, and there's no way you're going to do that to yourself again. This type of behavior might even be preemptively protecting yourself by doing this. You start to become defensive or resistant to change. Perhaps you're unsure of the actual change that needs to take place. So instead of attempting any change, you're avoiding it altogether. And you're convincing yourself that you don't need to change anyway. So if any of this struck a chord with you, or maybe triggered some light bulb moments, or had you thinking about some things, please know that you're not alone. Please know that it's just you telling you that something needs to change. Let me know in the comments below which of these aligned with you most. Which of these brought up more feelings? Which of these made you think, wow, I'm doing that? If any of this struck a chord with you, if any of this made you stop and think, please let me know in the comments below which ones they were. And let's work together to make the change that's needed. We all need to change in one way or another. But when you start getting signs from your body, from how you're feeling, from thinking that you just don't know what's going on and you can't make sense of it, then that just means it's time for a change. And let's work together to make that change. Okay? So what I want to do next is I want to have another episode where we can break down each of these signs and we can talk more about them and work with how we can change these things, right? What we can do so that we can make those changes. And by the comments that I get, if there's more of one sign than another, then we'll focus on that one first. And let's work together, right? Let's get through this. Life is changing, things are going on around us, and we need to work together and help each other out. And I hope I can facilitate that as best I can. Okay? And until next time, have a good day.